is up with my mouse? Top of the day, beautiful people. Trina, hey girl, hey. Okay, this thing. It's skipping all around the X button. I'm trying to. I'm like, what is it? Sticking? Okay. Alright. Happy Sunday, beautiful people. Happy Sunday. Betwabu, betwabu. Here. This. So. 21. Tiffany. Sawubona. Titi, hey girl, hey, betwabu, betwabu. Alright, beautiful people. Today is Sunday, October the 11th, 2020. Day 272. Day 636 of year 2, the consecutive count, the consecutive day count, year 1 and year 2. Alright, y'all. Today we are reading Psalm, right now, as this go, 21, 22, 23. And we're going to go ahead and read 24 because 23 is pretty short. Put it in there like that. All right. All right. Yibu Sawu Bona Tiffany. Okay, y'all, let's go ahead and get started. All my kids up and there. I just had to tell them before I came on, cut that down. Be quiet. I'm about to go live. All right. All right. Psalm chapter 21. How the king rejoices in your strength, O Yah. He shouts with joy because you give him victory. For you have given him his heart's desire. You have withheld nothing he requested. You welcome him back with success and prosperity. You placed the crown of finest gold on his head. He asked you to preserve his life, and you granted his request. The days of his life stretch on forever. Your victory brings him great honor, and you have clothed him with splendor and majesty. You have endowed him with eternal blessings and have given him the joy of your presence. For the king trusts in Yahuwah. The unfailing love of the Most High will keep him from stumbling. You will capture all your enemies. Your strong right hand will seize all who hate you. You will throw them in a flaming furnace when you appear. You will consume them in his anger. Yahuwah will consume them in his anger. Fire will devour them. You will wipe their children from the face of the earth. They will never have descendants. Although they plot against you, their evil schemes will never succeed. For they will turn and run when they see your arrows aimed at them. Rise up, O Yah, in all your power. With music and singing, we celebrate your mighty acts. Hold on, that just reminded me of a dream last night. I woke up last night. Let me tell you something. I had to, when I woke up, it was like, because I went to bed early. I woke up, it was like 1 something in the morning, and James was actually up because he had, got up and he was eating on something. I was like, was there music playing? I had to think through it first because, okay, maybe something was playing in the background, but there was, in my dream, I was in here in my kitchen, and there's this lady I know, she's known as an apostle, but anyway, she was sitting in my living room. And I noticed she was sitting there after I realized on the inside of me, you know how you had headphones on and, you hear the music playing or whatever and nobody else can hear it but you. It was like there was music playing on the inside of me. Like I could hear it and I could feel it all like through my body from like my head down to my feet. And it scared me for a second. I'm like, and I'm trying to, it was funny. I heard the music inside of me, but I'm looking around to see where the music is coming from. And I'm like, what is that? And it was so loud. It was such a beautiful song. I can't remember what song it was. Mom. But I'm like, do y'all hear that? Do y'all hear that? Do y'all hear that music playing? And the apostle got up. And it was funny. Because sometimes this particular apostle, I believe she knows y'all. I really do. I really do. But I think there are some things that she has off. Some things that are off. Not all to her like, I think it's just a growth thing for real. And that would seem weird coming from somebody who's not, that doesn't have a title of like one of the ministry. But, it just, from what I observe and what I've seen and what I've experienced personally with this particular person, right? There's some, let's just say some doctrinal issues going on there, right? Wait, Josh. But anyway, she came over to me. She said, "Well, let me pray for you." I was like, and I'm really particular about people that I let pray for me, right? And I'm like, and I thought about it at first, and I'm like, because she was reaching out to lay her hands on me. I'm like, and I'm like, I've always been that way. I'm like, yeah, you can say a prayer. Don't put your hands on me, you know. But she came close and she did like this, but I looked at her, and so she didn't quite touch me. She just like put her hands right here and began to pray for me. And when she began to pray for me, it was like she was praying against the music that was playing inside of me or whatever, because it seemed like the prayer, it was like she didn't believe. She thought I was like, girl, ain't no music playing on the inside of you. But I'm like, I'm telling you, can you hear that song? I know I'm not crazy. There is a song, and it's loud, it's playing. Like, it was so loud. It was like, it's, it was loud. Like, you listen to headphones and you turn up the music inside your headphones and you jam it. It was loud like that, but not like a deafening loud. It was very, when I say loud, that's the loud I mean, like if you have on two headphones and you just jam. Not too loud, or, oh my God, it's so loud, cut that down, you're going to bust my eardrums. It wasn't that type of loud. It was like that loud, like you turn it up and you jam it. It's like just the right bass and everything, and it's like boom. But I was so amazed by it, like, I'm like, none of y'all can hear that music playing. Y'all hear this song that's playing? And I woke up and I was trying to think of what the words to the song were, and I couldn't remember, but that was, it triggered the dream when I read the last, the verse of 21. It said, "Rise up, O Yah, in all your power. With music and singing, we celebrate your mighty acts." But yeah, that was weird, so I'm sure I'll get the interpretation of that song. All right, so let's go back to the reading. Psalm chapter 22. I just wanted to share that because I'm sorry, y'all. It triggered the dream that I had this morning when I read that. Okay. My God, why have you abandoned me? Why are you so far away when I groan for help? Every day I call to you, my God, but you do not answer. Every night I lift my voice, but I find no relief. Yet you are holy, enthroned on all the praises of Israel. Our ancestors trusted in you, and you rescued them. They cried out to you, and were saved. They trusted in you and were never disgraced. I am a worm and not a man. I am scorned and despised by all. Everyone who sees me mocks me. They sneer and shake their heads, saying, "Is this the one who relies on Yahuwah? Then let Yahuwah save him. If Yahuwah loves him so much, let Yahuwah rescue him." Yet you brought me safely from my mother's womb and led me to trust you at my mother's breast. I was thrust into your arms at my birth. You have been my God from the moment I was born. Do not stay so far from me, for trouble is near, and no one else can help me. My enemies surround me like herds of bulls. Fierce bulls of Bashan have hemmed me in. Sorry, y'all. Hey, guys. Y'all need to just take the voices louder. Y'all getting louder and louder, okay? Thank you. Verse 13. Like lions, they open their jaws against me, roaring and tearing into their prey. My life is poured out like water, and all my bones are out of joint. My heart is like wax, melting within me. My strength has dried up like sun-baked clay. My tongue sticks to the roof of my mouth. You have laid me in the dust and left me for dead. My enemies surround me like a pack of dogs. An evil gang closes in on me. They have pierced my hands and feet. I can count all my bones. My enemies stare at me and gloat. They divide my garments among themselves and throw dice for my clothing. Isaiah, you better get to the dining room table with that, and not in my living room. They sleep. Okay. Verse 19. Oh, Yah, do not stay far away. You are my strength. Come quickly to my aid. Save me from the sword. Spare my precious life from these dogs. Snatch me from the lion's jaws and from the horns of these wild oxen. I will proclaim your name to my brothers and sisters. I will praise you among your assembled people. Praise Yahuwah, all you who fear him. Honor him, all you descendants of Jacob. Show him reverence, all you descendants of Israel. For he has not ignored or belittled the suffering of the needy. He has not turned his back on them, but has listened to their cries for help. I will praise you in the great assembly. I will fulfill my vows in the presence of those who worship you. The poor will eat and be satisfied. All who seek Yahuwah will praise him. Their hearts will rejoice with everlasting joy. The whole earth will acknowledge Yahuwah and return to him. All the families of the nations will bow down before him. For royal power belongs to Yahuwah. He rules all the nations. Let the rich of the earth feast and worship. Bow before him all who are mortal, all whose lives will end as dust. Our children will also serve him. Future generations will hear about the wonders of Yahuwah. His righteous acts will be told to those not yet born. They will hear about everything he has done. 23rd Psalm, y'all. Everybody knows. What is you doing? Stop.
Doing some ice in a bowl.
How about you put the ice in a cup and not in a bowl? Okay, y'all.
Mom, I'm still in cold water.
Yahuwah is my shepherd. I have all that I need. He lets me rest in green meadows. He leads me beside peaceful streams. He renews my strength. He guides me along right paths, bringing honor to his name. Even when I walk through the darkest valley, I will not be afraid, for you are close beside me. Your rod and your staff protect and comfort me. You prepare a feast for me in the presence of my enemies. You honor me by anointing my head with oil. My cup overflows with blessings. Surely your goodness and unfailing love will pursue me all the days of my life, and I will live in the house of Yahuwah forever. Guys, voices down. All right, y'all, last chapter for today, Psalm chapter 24. The earth is Yahuwah's and everything in it. The world and all its people belong to him. For he laid the earth's foundations on the seas and built it upon the ocean depths. Who may climb the mountain of Yahuwah? Who may stand in his holy place? Only those whose hands and hearts are pure, who do not worship idols and never tell lies. They will receive Yahuwah's blessing and have a right relationship with Yahuwah, their Savior. Such people may seek you and worship in your presence, O God of Jacob. Open up ancient gates, open up ancient doors, and let the King of glory enter. Who is this King of glory? Yahuwah, strong and mighty. Yahuwah, invincible in battle. Open up ancient gates, open up ancient doors, and let the King of glory enter. Who is this King of glory? Yahuwah, the God of heaven's armies. He is the King of glory. And that, my beautiful friends, is our reading for today. All right, y'all, that was Psalms 21, 22, 23, and 24. It is day 272 of year 2 of reading through the books of the law and the prophets, and day 636 of the 2-year consecutive count. Guys, we are almost done. Remember, we put Job, Psalms, and Proverbs at the end of the reading of all the rest of the Old Testament because I didn't want to break up the prophets and everything. This time around, I kept it all together, and we put the Psalms and Proverbs and Job at the end. Not in that order. We read Job, then Proverbs, then Psalms, because it was the longest. All right, y'all. So let's go to the blessing, which is found in Numbers chapter 6. And we know that the Nazarite vow is the first 21 verses. And the blessing is actually found in verses 22 through 27. All right, y'all. And Yahuwah spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto Aaron and unto his sons, saying, On this wise ye shall bless the children of Israel, saying unto them, May Yahuwah bless us and keep us. May Yahuwah make his face to shine upon us and be gracious unto us. May Yahuwah lift up his countenance upon us and give us his peace. And they shall put my name upon the children of Israel, and I will bless them. All right, beautiful people. That is it. That is it. I wanted to say something else, but it was about something that I noticed about the upcoming elections, right? This has to do with President Obama. It's something that I noticed like day before yesterday as I was looking. Okay, I'll make it real quick, So over the last few years of me learning what I've learning that we are the people of the book, like literally we're the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, because growing up and in church, they don't teach you this. They teach you that the state that the United States and the Vatican created through the Balfour Declaration, that those were the people of the book. Those are not the people of the book. And as I began to notice that, everything that I've learned about theology and the Bible and what we, are taught in church, it shifted. I mean, it had to, because everything that I knew and understood was based on them being the people, So, but now that I understand that we are the people and there are multiple proofs, guys, Josh, cut that water off. There are multiple proofs just throughout time and history, even noting things that they're putting out. It's like I can't stay the same on what I believe. Like you believe something until you have the missing piece of information. It's like, oh yeah, that doesn't work anymore because now we know that doesn't fit here. This does. So that changes the whole outlook on everything. And I believe that's because there's a lot of people that I know that still don't realize that. And they're still under the church doctrine, which is pushed out by the Catholic Church and the Vatican and everything, which promotes the fact that the Israelis are the people of the book, and they're not. It gives you a whole different outlook on, and I hate using the word religion now, but it gives you a whole different outlook on what you're being taught on spiritual things, right? So when I was looking at something, now that I realized that, and I'll make this short. I just want to give you that quick background. Now that I realize that we're the people, the descendants of the transatlantic slave trade. Wait a minute, Zam, I'm almost done. I began to look at some of the things, and y'all have heard me say this before. I said they're manufacturing prophecies over there. I said because this can't happen because we are still in captivity. We are still in our captor's land, and this can't happen. I.e., there's always some major event that would seem to happen where there's like, oh, this was fulfilled here, this was fulfilled here. But I was like, no, it's not. That cannot happen. Just like people are constantly saying, oh, the Armageddon is about to happen. Armageddon cannot happen until the people are back in their land. Like not in heaven, like actually in their physical land here on earth. What are they always fighting over there? That's the big topic of debate. It's the land, right? And it's not that just that portion of land that they're fighting over that they carved out. Remember that little piece of they call it the Middle East? And I believe this is part of Yahuwah's teaching me over the years with me not knowing, by me going into the military and the Navy and actually riding through that Suez Canal and putting my eyes on it myself, looking at both sides. And it was like a lot of different things that was adding up in my life that brings this picture together for me. I'm like, wait a minute. The Middle East was originally a part of Africa until they carved the Suez Canal through. So it seems separated from the continent of Africa, but it wasn't always that way. Even when we go to the Suez Canal is a man-built canal, and it's so narrow. Remember, I was on the USS Theodore Roosevelt. That's an aircraft carrier. So every time we would go through there, we would have to lighten the load of the ship. We have to offload, because it couldn't be that heavy because it probably gets stuck. It would sink. We had to lighten the load. The ship was too heavy, right? So I'm like, so all these things, Yahuwah, as I began to understand, and I brought all these pieces together just in the last 3 years, right? And I'm like, wait a minute, something's not right about that, and the ones who are, I know this word has been played out right now, like the word woke. I'll just say the word woke has been hijacked, and people look at it, oh, she say she woke, but he say he woke. It's like a whole woke movement and stuff, and that is not what I'm talking about. I'm actually talking about seeing like the lies that have been blatantly laid in front of our faces, and those who are still sleeping and don't know, they can't see it. Those who can't see it do not realize that we're the people of the book, right? And we're the ones that the book is talking about, right? So they believe these manufactured prophecies that come from some of these prophets and apostles and stuff that are, we offloaded the fuel and air because, Trina, you was there with me. I'm telling you, it makes 100% sense now. So the Middle East is a part of Africa. All of this was done to create and push this narrative that's even being regurgitated in the churches and the pastors who are taught. And that teaching that they pass down, like even when they take that, mind you, I do taxes. When you take the 501c3 status for your church, if you get caught teaching something that is not a part of their doctrine, you lose your status and you possibly could lose your church. Let me tell you something. And I told people this years ago and stuff. I said churches, by IRS definition and code, you do not have to take the 501c3 status. You are automatically considered. You get that status without actually taking that status, so you still are afforded those same the same benefits to where as if you didn't take that status. Now, but when you take that status, you have to begin, giving your donors receipts. I mean, you should do that anyway. Just be above board all the time. But you will still get those same benefits if you do not physically take that status, the 501c3 status, right, from the tax code. They put that there for nonprofit organizations anyway, right? And I actually learned going through a tax course that deals specifically with churches and stuff, right? I was like, oh, snap, this is good, and pull up the code and everything. So even that right there, with everything that I've learned, Yahuwah has brought all that I've learned over the years of the military and doing taxes and learning some of the historical things to see that you see how all of this has been manufactured. And a lot of times it's like, ooh, do you want to speak out against that? Because the status quo and everybody, you got all these prophets saying this and they're speaking these words, but all those words line up with the false narrative of what's being pushed. And I'm like, that ain't right. Now, granted, people will give some true words like to individuals and things, and some things will seem to come to pass, but it's when you can see it, it's easy to kind of, I use the word, I'll say foresee, right? You can foresee what they're going to do next because you can see how they're manufacturing the prophecies. Guys, hush. So when you see that they are not the people and they're actually, I hate to say imposters. I used to say that, but it's like, because they inherited lies too, right? They grew up in lies just like we grew up in lies. There's a generation that knew the truth, but began to pass down lies all around the board. So just like Jeremiah say, when they really, and it's a lot of them coming to themselves now, realize like, oh, snap, we are not the people. We have inherited lies, and some of them are leaving that land. They're literally leaving that land, right? But the whole point of me saying all that, I noticed something about when former President Obama was in office, and something that happened with President Trump right now. Mind you, when it first happened, I'm like, yeah, that's it, because it hadn't clicked just yet about what I'm about to tell you. Okay, so remember when former President Obama was in office, him and Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, they just could not get along. Even the couple meetings that they had, it was like a stare showdown and stuff. Like, I don't like you and you know I don't like you, and vice versa. I don't like you and you know I don't like you too. And I'm just like, why is this? And I did not understand at that point why. Although I don't agree with some of the things that President Obama did while he was in office, this one particular thing, as of a couple days ago, when I looked, I was like, oh, snap, that's probably one of the only things, I ain't gonna say one of the only things, but one of the major things that he did right. Now, when, and I'm gonna tell you what that is. Now, when President Trump came in regards to Israel, all the rift that was going on between President Obama and Benjamin Netanyahu was kind of, let's say, mended, because President Trump, he went in, and him and Benjamin Netanyahu are like the best of buddies now. And you got to remember, Israel, the state is the state of Israel. I'm not talking about the true nationality of Israel. I'm talking about the state of Israel that was created by the Balfour Declaration, right? Remember, you can literally say Israel and America is we're literally like the same country. That's why America, when they say, oh, America must stand with Israel, America must stand with Israel, because it's like Israel is America. We just got those are the people that we placed over there to manufacture this prophecy. So we got to keep the lie going on to keep this flowing. So even all the prophet, I'm looking at everything now. And so now it's like when he moved the capital of Jerusalem back over, he made it Jerusalem the capital of Israel and stuff. It's all this big uproar and stuff. The Palestinians. It's like we ain't having it. We ain't doing all this, and But President Trump. I don't know if he knows, or if he doesn't know, he's just kind of moving in a direction that he's being pushed, so to speak. But he caused that to happen. And now, mind you, when it first happened, I'm still learning all this. I'm still piecing these pieces of the puzzle together. I'm like, yes. That's what prophecy say. We right there. Until I started doing more studying. I'm like, wait a minute. And it was shortly after that I realized that we were the people. I'm like, we the people? We the people? Wait, we're the people? And then I had to go back and check into all that stuff. I'm like, oh, snap. We the people. And as I began to notice that we were the people, I realized we are still in our captor's land. Like all the things that the Bible talks about, you can literally go, at least in regards to who the people are, you can go back and you can find historical documents, real proof. You can find the real kingdoms, and some of the names have been changed. So that's why it's not easy to line up some of the historical documents in the Bible, because the names have been changed on purpose, so you couldn't put it together. And pieces were taken out so you couldn't put it together, or you would recognize, wait a minute, this is talking about our people. So they had to do that. They had to canonize it in a way that kept it not so easy to recognize who this book is talking about and who this kingdom and this dynasty of people is, right? So when President Trump, he did that, what I realized was that he's further pushing the prophetic lie of the narrative that the churches are teaching that's not true, that goes directly against what Yahuwah said there. See, what they're trying to do, they're trying to make the people that's in captivity, a lot of us are still asleep, but a lot of us are waking up, realizing, wait a minute, y'all have been lying to us all this time. Y'all told us that our history literally started in 1619. Well, where were we at? Where did we come from before then? Like, they did everything to cause us to forget who we were, which Yahuwah said that was going to happen, right? That our heritage was going to be stolen. Everything was going to be stripped from us. Why? Because we turned away from Yah, from his laws, his statutes, and commandments. Commands that would give us life. It teaches us how to live here on the earth and how to interact with people and be fair to them and not take advantage of people, of our brothers and sisters, or of the stranger or sojourner among us. Yes, Christina, we are the true Israelites. If you actually go and you read the Bible and you begin to pull up historical documents, you will see that we are the people. If you look at the people over in Israel, they do not fit the biblical description of what Yahuwah said, how you would recognize his people. They do not. First of all, let's just point out the obvious here. You're a white nation living in a black continent, right? You're out of place. That's why the nations over there are, listen, guys, y'all got to get this. That's why the nations over there surrounding them, they're always at war with them. Believe it or not, and I hope they don't take my video down for this, because a lot of people's video have been getting taken down. A lot of people, there are some videos, and they've been taking a lot of them down that are over there. The people that are over there, even like the Palestinians and stuff, they was like, the Negroes are the people who's supposed to be here. You are the sons and daughters of Jacob. I'm like, everybody in the world knows who we are but us. They have done so much lies and covering up and propaganda here in the United States to keep us entertained and not paying attention. Oh, that doesn't make a difference. Oh, no, that doesn't matter anymore. No, we're all Jew and Gentile. We're one now. I'm like, I get the logic and what you're saying, but it's just think about logically, right? You have blood-born children that you give birth to, and then you have those that you adopt into the family. Not everybody, but you get the example that I'm trying to, You have the blood-born children that you give birth to, who is your own flesh and blood, right? So if there was an inheritance, the inheritance goes to the blood-born sons and daughters, whatever. But if you also adopt sons and... Wait a minute, Zay. Wait a minute, I'm almost done. But if you adopt children in, they're to be treated just the same. You don't treat them any different from the ones that you've actually given birth to, right? And that's the thing. Yahuwah said, if anybody else decides to turn away from all the other things that they've been doing to worship, and they decide to become a part of this family, he said, we're not to treat them any different, because I'm not going to treat them any different than I treat the blood-born sons and daughters, the bloodline. But there is a true bloodline, and that's the thing. They want to push the narrative that the bloodline, the true physical earthly bloodline, doesn't matter anymore. And it absolutely does matter, because for one, you can't even understand what this book is talking about until you know who the true sons and daughters are. Like, they teach you a whole bunch of stuff that's it's trying to make you disregard. It's like, no, we're all God's children. Yes, I get what you're saying, but you have to understand that there is a physical true bloodline. And if the physical true bloodline is not recognized, some of these prophecies and other things that Yahuwah has promised, you can't even see, you can't even get it right, because now your attention is diverted to people who are imposters, who have now assumed the identity of the blood-born sons and daughters, and it's like everybody's focused on them. Oh, bless Israel, while they're literally killing Israel, who are here trapped behind the borders in the streets of America. They are literally killing us in the streets, and they're giving the blessings, sending all the blessings and the money to those who have assumed our identity. And that's why things it seems like, and it's crazy, because they've even fooled the sons and daughters into believing that, oh yes, bless them. And I'm like, no, they better bless us, the ones here. That's why America hasn't been destroyed, because the sons and daughters of Jacob are here. Think about it. We've been scattered to the four corners of the earth, but Judah, most of Levi, and some of Simeon are here in the Americas. We have been scattered here. We were the last ones out of all our brothers, out of all the tribes, to be scattered, because, mind you, they was doing shenanigans forever. So the first 10 tribes, they were scattered way before we were. Judah got to stay in the land, in our homeland, like the real physical land, a lot longer. Why? Because we kept the commands a little longer. We were still doing shenanigans and turning away from Yahuwah's laws, in and out. We go into captivity, then we cry out to Yah sends a deliverer, or whoever from that generation to bring us back, whether it's Nehemiah or Elijah or Samuel or Samson. Those are different deliverers that he sent every time Israel cried out to him. And when you say Israel, remember, we're talking about a people, not just the land. Israel cried out. And remember, Israel is the sons and daughters of Jacob. Remember, Jacob's name was changed from Jacob to Israel. So instead of calling him Jacob, we call him Israel. That's a name. But Israel, Jacob had sons and daughters, So a lot of people, they don't seem to, that doesn't click unless they're really looking at it, really studying. Then it becomes like, oh yeah, it becomes like second nature. Yeah, and you get it. Okay, so the point that I was trying to make from the beginning when I started this, I realized that President Obama, I would go as far to say as former President Obama knows the truth, because he refused to join with Israel. Right? And I'm like, that makes a whole heck of a lot of sense here. There was always friction and stuff, and it was pushing him to join with them, but President Obama wasn't having it. But when President Trump came in, we're going to seal this deal, we're going to get this peace plan done. So it keeps true Israel sleep, not realizing, wait a minute. And when Israel, the sons and daughters of Jacob, completely wake up and cry out to Yah, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, they don't really, Yahuwah said, ain't nobody gonna come save you. Y'all doing all this, the attention is still diverted. And he's waking us up one by one, and then group by group. He said, I'm going to begin to wake them up one by one. That's what it says, and I see it happening. Now, when you begin to see that and actually look at this in truth, you can see it happening all over the world in our life, and what's been doing and what they're doing in the government. And even though they keep things secretive, Yah begins to show you what's going to happen behind the scenes that they're not telling you, but you can pick up on it. I'm like, oh, snap. So that's what I said, that this whole Israel thing, it's a farce. It's a farce, and people believe in it. That, don't you put your mouth on the man of God. And I was like, first of all, understand what the truth is. and I can boldly proclaim to you and tell you that they are lying to you. I don't care what they said out their mouth. They called them apostle, prophet, preacher, teacher, whatever title you want to put on yourself that day. It's a lie, because you don't even have this part right. So that prophecy is off. It's clear to see. A lot of prophecies are off. And those prophecies that was seen, that's what, and there was another thing. I was like, well, some of these seem to be coming to pass. Why? Because they manufacture prophecies, and it's like they move the world in a way that's going to line up with a prophecy that they're going to put out. And I'm like, bruh, a lot of these prophecies are about to fail, because if you have to look at all the pieces together, all of it together. When Jacob wakes up, when the sons and daughters of Jacob wake up and they begin to return to Yah, we're going to begin to see a turning in the dynamics of what's happening in the earth. And a lot of people hear Judah has to lead first, or Judah's going to lead the charge, meaning those here in America. Think about what happened with George Floyd. And I believe that's 100% true. When America started standing up, mind you, earlier in like the 70s and stuff, when you had Dr. King and different ones and Malcolm X, they had like the little uprisings or whatever, trying to break free, even with Marcus Garvey. You know, when they was trying to break free, it wasn't so much a world uproar. Why? It wasn't time, and also we didn't have technology getting to the masses like we do today. So the ones scattered over here in the UK, and the ones scattered over here to Oceania, and the ones over here to Bahamas and Brazil and all these areas, they didn't see what was going over here. You know, so they couldn't be like, oh man, our brothers and sisters are standing up over there, they going ham. But when this thing happened with George Floyd, and everything is caught on social media and it goes around the world like instantaneously, and they see America, they see Judah, the sons and daughters of Jacob, rising up over here. I tell y'all, I shared a lot of this. Even our tribes, some of the tribes of us, our brothers and sisters that are still over in Africa, when they seen this, they started uprising over there. You ain't never seen nothing like this in your life. It's a mass awakening of the sons and daughters of Jacob. True Israel is waking up all over the world. And it says that the slave masters will be plundered by their slaves. What y'all think that means? Honestly, what do y'all think that means? All the world started rising. You seen these marches and stuff, protests breaking out everywhere. And America's slaves were the catalyst of this, because they seen, oh, if the slaves in America is standing up, we know we can do it over here. And you see these riots and stuff breaking out everywhere, because we give everybody else strength. That's why everybody's waiting on the sons and daughters, waiting on Judah in America to wake up and turn to Yah and cry out to Yah. You know, and not only that, and not so much necessarily that we're going to take it and do it with our own hands. We have to remember how Yah works for us. He said, stand back and watch and see this. Yahuwah causes nature and the animals and everything to begin to fight on our behalf, while we literally sit back eating popcorn, watching this take place. He said, y'all ready to roll? Hold on, I got a couple more plagues to throw down over here, then we all rolling out, right? Like, seriously, that's how Yah fights for us, where we literally, most of the time, we don't really have to go hand-to-hand combat, although our boys be ready to go any given day at a time. You know, we I ain't gonna get into all that, but y'all get what I'm saying, right? So I started all this, I done went all off, but I had to bring it all together. I had to see a lot of these pieces. So when you looking at it, look at it in the light of them still trying to fool the world about who we are, but they know who we are. And look, and they flaunt it in front of our faces. Guys, they put it in movies. When you look at it, they literally put it in movies telling us who we are. Like, literally, it's sickening sometimes, because we can't. It's like, if it was a snake, it would have bit us. They put it there and they laugh at us because we can't even recognize it, because we've been so dumbed down and so indoctrinated and been taught to look this way when everything is right here, you know? So, what do you mean blood on your back, girl?
Because they hit me.
Oh, girl, you ain't gonna bleed because he hit you. Isaiah, you better keep your hands to yourself.
No, they are in my back.
Okay.
And I need to bite Zay, and he need to bite my back.
Okay, you better not hit, punch, bite, or nothing, okay?
No.
All right, y'all, let me hurry up and get out here. But anyway, I said all that to say, if you look at it President Trump, and I know a lot of people, oh, the blessing of Yah is on him. He's the man for the hour. I believe that because Yah sets up leadership, good and evil. Yahuwah said, I create good and I create evil. While a lot of times people blaming things on the devil, Yahuwah said, I create good and I create evil. You know, it was Yahuwah who sent the evil spirit on King Saul. It was him. Why? Because he turned from him. Yah uses everything to bring a perfect balance. Just like we got good bacteria in our body and we got bad bacteria in our body. Good and evil, but it balances out. We can't see the beautiful connection it all makes. We just looking at, oh, there's soul, is why would it? But it brings a perfect balance in the earth. Not, I mean, some things are, get what I'm saying? It seems absolutely horrible to us, you know, but with man's will and them want to take over and do what they want to do and not, you know, abide by like laws that are set in the earth, it gets out of hand and we see a chaos. And man tries to control a chaos that was never meant for him to create and control, you know. So, all right, y'all. So I said all now. I was talking about former President Obama and President Trump and what I seen them do. President Obama actually did what was right in regards to Israel and not joining with them and breaking away from some of the things that they were trying to do. But President Trump, he there, and although it seems like he's doing what's right and saving America, I'm like, no, he's actually furthering the plan, y'all. I'm like, would y'all please? And I couldn't see it at first. And the more studying that, I'm like, oh, snap. Hold on. I'm like, oh, something's wrong. I'm like, Father, something is wrong here. But, you know, but it's like, Pam, you know, and I'm not the only one that's, if you look, there's a lot of people that's seeing this and they're breaking away from the Trump train. They really are. So, guys, but that's it. But keep your eyes on that. Look at things that's happening with the right perspective. Adjust your perspective. Once you know who the people are, you can now begin to look through the right filters and see, like clear glasses. Take the smudges off, clean all the dirt off, so now you can see clearly, and clearly see you can get proper interpretations of what the book is saying. And matter of fact, every time Yahuwah says something, he gives the interpretation right there. There's not, unless he want to give you something on top of that, but anything that Yahuwah says in the Old Testament, the interpretation always follows it, you know. But that's it, y'all. I'm done. They doing the most now. All right, so I love y'all, and I see y'all bright and early in the morning.
Mommy, press it.
Oh, you want to press it? Okay, come on.
How do we forget to press anything?
Well, she asked first. All right, go ahead. Finish.